this is Angie Dollar, and my website is Future Life Today. So what I normally do is I normally do QHHT and Beyond Quantum Healing, Hypnosis, and SRT energy clearing, but I also do channeling. And I'm going to show an example today where I do an SSP, so Super Soldier Program reading for someone. So Christy Campbell has agreed for me to have her reading online. I've already gone through my list and checked the things that I see her in, and I have that list in front of me to help me to connect more to the visions and just kind of prompt me along. It's just the list I'm actually going to attach in the comments, so you'll see just things like mind wiped, mind control, torture, just short little things like that. But just looking at it is just kind of giving me a idea of what to grab onto and look at it. So there's a few things on the list. The first thing I wanted to talk about is try and put it a little more in order, is that she's abducted at night by, I'm feeling like she's abducted some during the day too, and has lost some time. And I don't know if I have loss of time on here, but a lot of us experience that loss of time. And we can be gone for a few minutes, and then it's like several years in the secret space program. So she's abducted at night. I am seeing some, like I said, during the daytime as well, by military and by aliens. So when I'm looking off to the side, I'm seeing it all. So one thing that I saw that stood out, and that a lot of us go through, is the altars are created. So the altars are where they're fracturing our mind. They're creating this disconnect where it's hard to connect with parts of ourselves because we're put off into these altered states. Now, I'm seeing one of her altars I saw as like a lot of people talk about their altars being created by, which I do see her with this too. Like maybe she'll see they'll put a television in front of her and it's just rolling over and over and over. And I see her sitting there just for hours and hours. And I'm seeing her watching something violent and then something funny. And then something like the Three Stooges, which is really weird, the Three Stooges, because they're violent and they're funny. I guess I don't like them, but and I'm watching her watch some violent cartoons, and I'm watching her watch something that truly is funny, and then someone being killed or an animal being killed. Now, something I'm seeing them making her do is like kill animals, which she loves animals, but you know, we're in this state where we're forced to do these things. So I want to go on to the torture that I have on my list, because that goes with things like we wouldn't normally do. I am seeing her being tortured, but there's another thing I see where she's being forced to torture others. And the thing is in these programs, if we don't go along with torturing others, then they're going to make it even worse for us. Then they're going to torture us as well. They're going to torture that other person even worse. So it's something we had to go along with. Now, one reason I see them doing this is I saw them doing this because they're creating separation among a group. So even if we do have the chance to communicate with each other, they're going to separate us any way that they can. And by having us torture each other, that creates like a fear of each other, and creates us just not being able to connect well in the group. I'm seeing George Bush around her a lot, and I'm seeing him participate in the altars, in the creation of these altars. So I'm not going to talk a lot about her and George Bush, because we've talked about that on another channel, on James Rink's channel. And we continue to talk about it. We may be talking about it online tomorrow night as well on his channel. So because her and I were discussing that. there are some people that I've seen her with that are famous people. The first thing I saw when I was looking at her was I saw her down in an area where she was going to be cloned, and I saw her with Britney Spears. Now, some people think these actors, they're clones and their originals are somebody else, which is fine. But the way I see her is I see Britney Spears. If you think about what some of these actors have gone through and how Britney Spears shaved off her head and just really losing it, having a breakdown. Amanda Bynes is one I wrote down, Bynes. I don't know how she says her name, Bynes. She's one who had I'll just call it a breakdown. I don't know what to call it as well recently, where she was just found naked walking around. Now I see Amanda Bynes down there, but I don't really see her interacting with Christy. I just see her kind of freaking out. Like, where am I? I'm seeing her sitting in a chair. She's tied up, and she actually doesn't have any clothes on down there. So maybe that's why she reenacted that up here, where she just went off and whatever happened when she went off here on Earth. So I see them down there. So they're creating these clones of them. And I'm seeing them down in dumb, so underground is where I'm seeing them. Now, when we talk about these things, these people can be being cloned somewhere else as well. That's just where I'm seeing them together. I'm going to talk a little bit about Antarctica because I don't want to talk a whole lot because I did this whole thing on James Rink's channel about Antarctica. Is I put together a whole lot of channeled information. I did some with him, but I did like hours and hours with a friend of mine. So I don't want to go a lot into it, but I find it really interesting because I had never looked at it. About a month ago, I looked at it for the first time, and it was just amazing. But I see her down there. I see her down there training other soldiers. So there's a group of soldiers down there that are working for the Nazi side. Now we get into time travel. So I've seen her doing a lot of time travel, and some people have asked me like Kissinger is there. So it could be like, well, how is she there? And Kissinger is there. It's because these people are time traveling. So I see her going back in time and being part of World War II. And some people can say it's another timeline, it's another reality, but I'm seeing her there traveling in time, going to that time period, working for the Nazis. I'm seeing her becoming a cyborg and having some AI or some computerized mechanical systems on her body. But after that, and I want to go over all of this, I'm seeing her training soldiers. So it's like, I know we say time doesn't exist and all that, but after she has experiences doing that, I'm seeing her training soldiers herself there. And she's good at training in hand-to-hand combat. And the way I had a vision of her, because I see her online, she looks like this little tiny woman, but I see her there as she's in like a different body. So, which I think could be a clone body, but she's in a different body. And her body is really, she's a woman, but she's really buffed up. She's very large. I'm trying to think, like I'm seeing the number 6'2" or 6'3", so she's very tall. And she's just very broad. She looks more like the body of a muscular man, but she's a woman. So she has longer dark hair, but oh, interesting how I'm seeing her now. I'm just seeing this vibration around me. Like she's got this hairstyle of like women back in that time period, like in the 40s. So she has her hair down, but it's kind of pulled up a little bit up here, so it's off of her face. So it's not falling down on her face as she's training people, but it's coming down. She's got kind of it's not kind of, she's got some sexuality thing going on, like she's exuding some sexuality, and she's feeling sexy with her, like her hair coming down around her shoulders, just a little beyond her shoulders, a little bit of a wave, a little bit of a curl to it. And she's wearing lipstick and makeup, but, and she looks pretty and attractive, but she's got this very large male body, and she's very tall. But she seems to enjoy doing that hand-to-hand combat training, hand-to-hand, like karate, fighting, wrestling, all of that. So I did see her as enjoying using knives. I saw her when she's an assassin using guns, knives, and explosives. But here in this reality, I'm seeing her enjoying teaching the soldiers how to use a knife to kill someone, how to use a knife to injure someone. So if you just need to injure them for the time being, but you want to keep them alive for a little while, or you want to injure them to torture them, but you want to keep them alive. I'm seeing her doing that. There's something else. I don't think I said I see her practicing throwing knives, because she could throw knives from a distance and injure someone or decide to kill them. I'm seeing her throw a knife at someone, and the guy, this was an enemy, the guy laughs and says, "Oh, you didn't kill me, you missed." She said, "I got you right where I wanted you," because she wasn't trying to kill him. I'm seeing her like hit him in the leg. And she's saying, "I just wanted to slow you down." Okay, let me see what else. I've got to look at my time, or I'll just go on and on. I tell people I do these for 20 to 30 minutes, and I'm going pretty long with them, which is fine. So in that place in Antarctica where she's time traveled and some others are time traveled, I saw President Kissinger there. And remember, these people are traveling through time, so you can see whoever there, it doesn't matter about the time. I'm seeing him there with some children he's abusing. So he has 3 walking behind him, and they're complying. Like, he doesn't have to have them handcuffed or in chains or anything. I'm seeing a time where he did have to do that to teach them, like, you're going to stay with me, you're going to stay together in a group, you're going to watch each other. If you wander off, I'm seeing where one wandered off, and then I'm seeing another time where 2 had planned to run away. They thought they could escape, but they learned really quickly that if one of you misbehaves, you're all going to be punished. So they watch to make sure everyone's, doing what they're supposed to do. And he taught them to walk. I'm seeing 5 to 7 feet behind him, but I'm also seeing the number 3. I think what he does is he wants them to stay about 5 feet from him. But what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing right now is he tells them, when I'm with someone talking, you back up to like 7 feet from me. And he actually lays out and shows them, okay, this is what 5 feet is. They practice that, not with him because he's too important. He had them, when they first came to him, practicing these things with one of his assistants, where they laid it on the floor. Here's 5 feet. You're going to practice walking, because then he can like feel their presence. He knows they're there. His assistants around him know they're there. They're close enough to grab. They're close enough where people aren't generally going to come in between them. And then when he's talking to someone, he stops, he talks to someone, he wants them to move back about 7 feet. 7 feet is what I'm seeing, or a little bit more. I'm seeing 7 to 9 feet. It's based on them sometimes finding a little corner where they can sit down and be out of the way. But he wants them to move away where they're not really listening as well to what he's saying. But the interesting thing is, I'm seeing sometimes he has children that are have abilities, so they're telepathic. They can, you know, hear anyway. So they try to keep these abilities shut down until they want to use them, but we've been able to sometimes use these abilities that they think they're controlling and keeping dormant when they don't want us to use them. So I can see the children sometimes listening in on him. Like I see them sitting by it's a thing not as high as this. It's like this is my friend's child's room. If there's children's books, not my books. There's like a cabinet like this. It's lower, and they're sitting on the floor by that. And one of them is kind of, they're like around age 5 or 6. One of them is like kind of scooting away and getting a little antsy scooting away, and the others are like looking at them and motioning like, get over here, because they know they're going to be tortured if they don't comply. So yeah, so he has these children he likes to have with him, so he can have sex whenever he wants. He can torture them whenever he wants. So he was one that I had a dream about when I first started waking up to the SSP. Was back in February 2023, so not very long ago. But I had already been I've been a psychic since I was 27 or so. Yeah, 27, 28. So I was having visions of other things before that. But I had a dream about him around February, March, with a little child. And it was just, I woke up and I thought, what is that? You know, I mean, my dreams really changed when I started waking up to SSP things. So I see him there with those kids. And I see sometimes like he switches them out because he'll torture one to death, that kind of thing. And then he has to bring in another. He has to have one of his assistants train him. And then the other 2 kids that are there help to train and keep that one in line, that new one in line. Let's see. I feel uncomfortable saying all these names, but like I have to say this name, Tom Cruise. Like I had a dream about him too several months ago, and I feel like some of these people, like when I did her reading for her that I wrote down, where I just list off things, I have 2 people that I said were trying to hide from me seeing them. And let me see. I'm thinking he was one of them on the list. Tom Cruise, he's trying to block me, but I see him. That's funny because like it was trying to block me just now, and I did this a few days ago. I mean, I did the writing of the list a few days ago. Wow. Okay. Obama was one who was trying to block me too. I have this written on here. He's trying to block me, but I see him because these names will come to me pretty quickly of people, but those 2 names are coming slower. And when Obama came in, it's like I could see him right here next to me. And I'm like vibrating again around my head saying this. I could see him right here next to me looking at me and just giving me a mean look. And like his face was right here, and it was like bigger than my head. And I thought, I see Obama. Like I had to think to myself, do I see Obama because he's one that was with her, or do I see him just because I'm thinking about him because I have a list of potentials here? And then I thought, no, he's here. Like he's trying to hide from me, and I am seeing him because he is involved with Christy, and he's trying to hide, and he thinks he's cloaked there. He's giving me this dirty look, but I see him. He's there. So when I see Obama, it's like it always has to do with control, children. Maybe I'll see something new with him, but I mean, apparently he approved us being watched, our phones being tapped, our internets, everything we do being watched. Apparently he was part of that approval. But I see him as control and really involved with children, the abuse of children. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. So there it is. So he did come in, and he is on her list. And Tom Cruise, I see down there in Antarctica, he's coming. I can see that now. I didn't know why I put him on the list to talk about. I see him as bringing in a few more kids to show to Kissinger. Now, I don't see anything going on in Antarctica around kids, but since Kissinger's there, he brings his children with him. They're just part of his entourage, and he has some assistants. It's like a 4-point thing. So there's Kissinger walking, there's his 3 kids behind him, and then there's someone to the left of those kids, back a little ways behind them, and someone to the right. And then there's someone to the front of Kissinger, to the left of him, and to the right. So he has this 4-point around him. So Tom Cruise brings in some children for him to see. And Tom Cruise is just he's thinking, I wonder if I'm going to send 1 or 2 of these off to A, which I'm not going to say the word A. Hopefully I haven't said anything to get the video pulled off. I'm trying to think if I have. So A, I may not even be able to write it in the video. So they may be taken off, 1 or 2 of them, to be used for something that starts with an A. So Kissinger may have to have one of his replaced that he has with him, and Tom Cruise may take it off to use for that thing that starts with A. All right, let's move on. I thought there was something else I had here on my list, but I'm going to look and see what else is coming to me. She has a really long list, but I only focus on a few things at one time. Mars, I do have something on. Is that next page? Oh, and I want to talk about her abilities, because she seems really into her abilities, and she does have a lot of abilities. She has abilities in this lifetime here on Earth as well. And that's something, is that a lot of times we'll have things that bleed over into this life. So if we had abilities there, we may have abilities here, and those abilities could be blocked as well for now, but we could work on opening them up. So I see her on Mars, and what's interesting that I see her doing on Mars, I haven't heard anybody talk about this, is that she's fighting with these beings. And I've heard people talk about fighting with spider beings. I've been fighting with spider beings there, and I'm terrified of spiders. I can't stand spiders here. Give me a mouse or a snake any day, but not a spider. My gosh. So I can understand why, because I've seen myself fighting with them, and it just makes me want to cringe right now, thinking about it. What I'm seeing her fight with, though, is different. They were put there as practice for her and her team, or her group, her platoon, whatever they would call it there, to practice some fighting with some beings. And they seem to have different DNA mixtures. What I wrote down was spider, mantis, human, but I don't know exactly what that DNA is. I'm seeing right now, I'm seeing some ET DNA. I am seeing some reptilian DNA, but I'm seeing some other DNA as well mixed with that. I think there is some mantis DNA, but there's several things mixed together. And these beings are created. I could look at that in more detail. It's pretty interesting to see it. They're created as practice for her and her platoon to practice killing. So What I have seen, and I'm just looking to see if it's similar to what happened to me. For myself, when we were fighting the spider beings, we would be killed. Shuttle would come down once everything was cleared out. If any of that side, the spiders are left alive, the shuttle would wait until they left, and the shuttle would come down and retrieve our bodies. But first, they would retrieve our consciousness from our clone bodies in case they had to leave quickly without taking the bodies out. They wanted to at least get the consciousness first. So let me see if I see what they're doing with her group, because this is a planned fight. This is not a fight where they have to come in and quickly get out and decide what they're going to do. They don't have to retrieve the consciousness in case they can't get out of there and leave the bodies potentially. So gosh, she's been killed a lot of times there. So it's like she's in a clone body when she's up there. And you're trying to just, so they just go down there and they pick up all the bodies since it's just a practice thing. I'm seeing them where when they go down to just end the little fight, if they just want to end it in the practice fight, they can, like, it's like they can flip a switch, and these beings that they've created, they can, they'll go into like a zombie dormant state, and it's like they just turn off, like they're just standing there like a zombie and they're not moving. So they're frozen. So they're still somewhat aware, but they're zombie-ish, and they're just staying with their feet planted on the ground. And then they'll go in, they'll pick up Christy's group, get them out, and if someone's dead or they're injured, they'll carry their bodies out. And then I'm seeing them putting them in med beds. I'm seeing some of them, they just replace the clone bodies. So let me see if there's anything else. Oh, her abilities. I want to look at her list of abilities, because being able to kill someone by thought, I think, is something that I had on there. Yeah, psychic assassination. So I am seeing her doing that. I'm seeing her remote viewing and being able to do it at a distance. So being able to like cause an aneurysm, heart attack. I can feel this like just a little buzzing in my chest, not a pain to me, but like a little buzzing. So a heart attack. What else? I'm seeing her as being able to cause like cars to crash, like an accident, so someone dies, or this is like causing my head to vibrate too, or I'm seeing her causing something like a car accident, and it's a warning. It's like someone gets a phone call and they just hear, "Here's your warning," and they hang up and they think, what was that? And then they go get in a car accident, and then they realize, like, wow, here's my warning. I just got into a car accident. So, okay. And I'm looking at the list. I see her as being able to read minds too. So when she does remote view, she also does astral travel. I'm seeing her as the mind reading. So I do see her as the influencer. So the influencer, her and I had talked about before. So that you can, if someone's, so someone in power, like someone who's high up politically or high up in the military, if they're about to make a decision and they're kind of on the edge of going one way or the other, I'm seeing her as an influencer, pushing them to one side or the other. I'm also seeing her, even if they aren't kind of weary, like, well, don't want to do this or that. I'm seeing her as being able to pull them more on 180. Like they're just like, no, I absolutely was not going to agree with this. I'm seeing her being able to pull them to the other side with what they were wanting to do sometimes as well. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. I'm seeing her as being a slave a lot. So I won't go into that so that I don't set off any blocks to my video. And I'll just look if there's anything else that I want to emphasize here. She's been different kinds of assassins because she's been a regular assassin. And I'm seeing her as a sniper, like far away, distant assassin, but also up close with guns, knives, explosives, but also as a honeypot assassin, and as a honeypot where she's just trying to get information. So, or she wants to kind of get close to them, act like she has a relationship with them, and push them to make a certain decision. I feel like what's coming to me right now is I'm feeling like Marilyn Monroe was that, influencing or trying to influence JFK. I do think both of them were assassinated, Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy. So I don't want to get too into that, but I feel like that. So I don't see Christy really having interactions with John F. Kennedy, but maybe that will come up to me, because since it's coming up right now, maybe that will come to me later. I think that's all I'm going to get into today. I don't know what time I've started, but I feel like I've been going for 30 or 40 minutes, like a long time. So I do appreciate your listening to this. I had spent a lot of time, making the list and then looking at the list to see what was coming to me. I pulled some things off the list to make just jot down little notes of visions that were coming to me. And I spent a lot of time making the long list of things, just like Black Shield, Cyborg, Dark Fleet, just bam, 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 like really quick, like a lot of things that we could really go into. And then I just go through and look at, okay, what's standing out to me, and just jot down some quick notes. What are standing out to me where I'm right now today getting little visions of. And then now in this video, I really go into those visions. This is the first time I really looked deeply into those visions. So I hope I wasn't talking too fast. I'll tend to start to talk really fast when things are coming in. But again, thank you for listening. And I appreciate you listening. If you would like to have a reading like this, please let me know. Or if you'd like a hypnosis to allow the things to flow through to yourself, because we are starting to get our memories back. I've had people come to me who say, oh, I can't get my memories back. I can't do this hypnosis. And a lot of people are able to do that with me. So thank you very much. And best of luck to you with getting memories back, getting through this, feeling like you're powerful and you have a good life here. You can move forward with your freedom.